They're watching you right now, studying your patterns, reading your reactions, waiting for you to reveal your hand so they can predict your next move. And every time you speak without thinking, every time you react instead of respond, every time you show them what you want, you're handing them the blueprint to control you. But what if you became unreadable? What if your silence carried more weight than their words? What if every move you made was calculated 3 steps ahead while they were still trying to figure out step 1? Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. The prince who reveals everything controls nothing. The man who shows his cards loses the hand before it's played. So, here's your first truth. Power doesn't announce itself. It positions itself. While others are busy performing, proving, and pleading for validation, you'll be 3 moves ahead, operating from a place they can't see or touch. I'm about to show you how to become the man they can't decode, can't manipulate, and can't control. Number 2, the mask of mystery. Let's talk about the power of opacity. Most men are open books, desperate to be understood, validated, approved. They overshare their plans, broadcast their emotions, announce their intentions like they're reading from a script everyone can see. This is suicide in a world that studies weakness for profit. The moment you become predictable, you become controllable. The moment they know what makes you angry, what makes you emotional, what buttons to push, you've already lost. So here's what you do instead. You become selectively transparent. You give them just enough to satisfy their curiosity, but never enough to map your mind. You smile when they expect anger. You stay silent when they expect defense. You move when they think you'll stay still. This isn't deception. This is strategic ambiguity. Machiavelli called it the art of appearing. You let people see what serves your interest, not what satisfies their need to categorize you. Because here's the reality. People fear what they can't predict. They respect what they can't fully understand. And they never challenge what they can't read. Your emotions? Keep them behind glass, visible when you choose, but never accessible on demand. Your plans? Share the outcome, never the process. Your weaknesses? Lock them in a vault only you have the combination to. When you master the mask, you don't just protect yourself, you position yourself as the most powerful piece on the board, the one everyone's trying to figure out but no one can touch. Comment below. I am strategically invisible. Number 3, emotional detachment as armor. Emotion is the leash they use to walk you wherever they want. Someone insults you, you react. Someone challenges you, you defend. Someone baits you, you bite. And in that moment, you're no longer in control. They are. Because whoever controls your emotions controls your decisions, and whoever controls your decisions controls your life. This is where most men lose the game before they even know they're playing it. They operate from their feelings instead of their strategy. They let pride dictate their moves. They let anger cloud their judgment. They let ego write checks their position can't cash. And the world eats them alive for it. Here's what you need to burn into your mind. Detachment is not indifference. It's dominance. It's the ability to feel everything but be ruled by nothing. When someone tries to provoke you, you observe it like a scientist studying behavior. When someone attacks your character, you assess whether it's worth your energy to respond. And most of the time, it isn't. Silence is a weapon they'll never see coming. Stillness is a power move that breaks their entire strategy because they need your reaction to fuel their narrative. Without it, they're powerless. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Machiavelli took it further. He understood that the leader who shows no weakness, no crack in the armor, becomes untouchable in the eyes of both allies and enemies. So train yourself to pause, to think before you speak, to feel before you act. And when you do move, make it calculated, cold, and so precise they never see it coming. That's not suppression, that's sovereignty. You're not ignoring your emotions, you're weaponizing your discipline. And when you master that, you become a force no one can predict, manipulate, or break. Comment below. My emotions serve me, not control me. Number 4, the weapon of silence. Silence terrifies weak people. It unravels them. Because in silence, they project their fears, their insecurities, their guilt. And you just watch it happen. Most men fill every gap in conversation with noise, explaining themselves, justifying their actions, proving their worth. That's how you spot someone who doesn't understand power. Because power doesn't explain. It doesn't apologize unless strategy demands it. It doesn't fill uncomfortable silence with nervous chatter. Power sits in the silence and lets others scramble to interpret it. Here's what happens when you master strategic silence. People start assuming you know more than you do. They think you're calculating something they can't see. They wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, what move you're about to make. And while they're busy filling in the blanks with their imagination, you're actually 3 steps ahead, observing, analyzing, positioning. Machiavelli wrote, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." And silence is the most elegant form of deception there is. It's not lying. It's simply withholding. It's making them work for information you're not obligated to give. When someone asks you a question designed to expose your position, you pause, let the silence hang. Then you answer with a question, or redirect, or give them something vague enough to satisfy, but reveal nothing. When someone tries to bait you into an argument, you don't engage. You go quiet. Let them rant. Let them expose themselves. Because the person talking is the person losing control of information. The person listening is gathering intelligence. And here's the kicker. Silence also protects you from saying too much. Most men destroy themselves with their own mouths, talking when they should listen, explaining when they should observe, revealing when they should conceal. Your words are currency. Spend them wisely or don't spend them at all. In meetings, be the last to speak. In conflicts, be the first to go quiet. In negotiations, let them fill the silence with concessions. Because the man who controls the silence controls the room. The man who controls the room controls the outcome. And the man who controls the outcome, he's untouchable. That's you. That's who you're becoming. Comment below. Silence is my strategy. Number 5. Strategic positioning and invisible influence. Here's a truth most men never learn. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. Real power doesn't perform. It positions. It doesn't announce. It arranges. While everyone else is fighting for the spotlight, scrambling for recognition, demanding to be seen and heard, you're doing something far more dangerous. You're placing yourself exactly where you need to be to control outcomes without anyone realizing you're the architect. This is the art of invisible influence, and it separates chess players from checkers players. Think about it. The king on a chessboard is important, but he's also the most restricted, the most watched, the most targeted. The queen moves freely, but everyone sees her coming. Now think about the player, the one moving all the pieces. That's the position you want, not on the board, but controlling it. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He advised princes to appear one way while operating another, to let others take the credit while you engineer the result. To be the advisor, the influencer, the silent hand that guides decisions without being blamed for consequences. Because here's what happens when you're too visible. You become a target. People study you. They envy you. They plot against you. But when you operate from the shadows of strategic positioning, you're untouchable. You influence without fingerprints. You shape outcomes without shouldering blame. You move pieces while everyone thinks they're making their own decisions. So how do you do this? First, you stop competing for attention and start competing for position. You don't need the title. You need access. You don't need recognition. You need leverage. You place yourself close to decision makers, not as a threat, but as a resource. You become valuable, not loud, useful, not flashy. Second, you plant seeds instead of making demands. You suggest instead of command. You ask questions that lead people exactly where you want them to go, and they think it was their idea. Third, you build networks in silence, connect people, facilitate opportunities, create debts without calling them debts, because the man who connects the dots controls the picture, even if his name isn't on it. Fourth, you never reveal your full hand. Even your allies don't need to know your complete strategy. Give them their piece of the puzzle, never the whole picture. This isn't paranoia. This is protection. This is how you remain indispensable without becoming predictable. And here's the ultimate play. When things go right, let others take the credit. When things go wrong, don't be anywhere near the blame. You're building long-term positioning, not short-term ego gratification. This is how you become the invisible architect of your own empire. Not the face everyone sees, but the force no one can stop. Not the king everyone targets, but the kingmaker everyone needs. That's real power. That's untouchable influence. That's what you're building right now. Comment below. I position, I don't perform. Number 6. Reading people and exploiting psychological patterns. Every person you meet is broadcasting information, their body language, their word choices, their reactions, their inconsistencies. They're telling you exactly who they are and what they want, whether they realize it or not. But most men are too busy talking about themselves to notice. They're too focused on being heard to actually listen. And that's why they're easy to manipulate. Because the man who observes controls the man who reveals. So here's your advantage. You're going to become a student of human behavior, not casually, obsessively. You're going to watch how people move when they're uncomfortable, how their voice changes when they're lying, how they position themselves around authority, how they react under pressure. You're collecting data while they think you're just being quiet. And once you understand someone's patterns, you own the game. Let me break this down. Everyone operates from core drives: fear, greed, ego, insecurity, desire for validation. When you identify which drive controls someone, you know exactly which buttons to push and which levers to pull. The insecure person, they need validation. Give it to them strategically and they'll do anything for you. The greedy person, show them profit. Let them think they're winning while you're positioning. The fearful person, never threaten directly. Imply consequences and let their imagination do the work. The egotistical person, this one's almost too easy. Flatter their intelligence, admire their achievements, make them feel superior. They'll drop their guard completely because ego blinds better than any drug. Now here's where dark psychology comes in. You're not just reading people, you're testing them. You give them small opportunities to reveal their loyalty, their honesty, their true intentions. You create scenarios where their real character surfaces. Machiavelli said it best. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel. Most people only see the surface. You're going to feel beneath it. You're going to notice what they don't say. The pause before they answer, the topic they avoid, the person they never mention, the emotion they try to hide, these gaps in their story. That's where the truth lives. And when you find those gaps, you file them away. Not to weaponize immediately, that's amateur. You store them for when they're useful, for when you need leverage or protection, or to redirect a situation in your favor. But here's the crucial discipline. Never let them know you're reading them. The moment someone realizes you see through them, they adjust. They put up walls. They become cautious around you, so you stay neutral, pleasant even. You make them comfortable. You let them think they're smarter than you, more aware than you, ahead of you. And all the while, you're mapping their psychology like a blueprint. There's a reason poker players study tells. There's a reason interrogators study micro-expressions. There's a reason Machiavelli spent chapters analyzing how people behave under different conditions. Because human nature is predictable once you know the patterns. And once you know the patterns, you can play the game at a level most people don't even know exists. You're not being cruel, you're being strategic. You're not manipulating for sport. You're protecting your position and advancing your interests in a world that will do the same to you if you let it. So, watch everything. Trust nothing at face value. And remember, the person who understands human nature controls human behavior. That person is you. Comment below. I see what others hide. Number 7, strategic relationships and the trust calculation. Let's talk about the most dangerous illusion men fall for, believing everyone deserves trust until proven otherwise. That's not optimism, that's strategic suicide. In the real world, trust isn't a gift you hand out freely. It's a currency you spend carefully, and only after someone has proven they've earned it. And even then, you trust in degrees, never completely, never blindly. Because the moment you give someone full access to your vulnerabilities, your plans, your weaknesses, you've armed them with everything they need to destroy you if they choose to. Machiavelli warned, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." Translation: most people will betray you when the conditions are right, not because they're evil, but because they're human. They'll choose self-preservation over loyalty, advancement over integrity, comfort over your trust. So your job isn't to be cynical, it's to be realistic. You categorize every relationship strategically. There are allies of convenience, people aligned with you temporarily because your interests overlap. Use them, benefit them, but never confuse alignment with loyalty. There are transactional relationships, people you exchange value with. Keep it clean, professional, and never mistake business for friendship. There are potential threats, people who smile but undermine, who agree publicly but sabotage privately. Keep them close enough to monitor, far enough to limit damage. And then rarely there are true allies, people who've proven themselves through action, through sacrifice, through consistency over time. Even here, you trust but verify. You give access in layers, never all at once. Here's the test most men fail. They trust words over actions. Someone says they're loyal and they believe it. Someone promises support and they count on it. Someone claims they've changed and they gamble their position on it. You watch what people do when there's nothing in it for them. You observe how they behave when you're not in the room. You test their consistency under pressure during conflict, when loyalty costs them something. Because talk is the cheapest currency in existence. Action is the only receipt that matters. Now here's the darker truth. You need to be capable of detachment. When someone reveals they're not who you thought they were, you cut ties without emotion. No drama, no public confrontation, no need to explain or justify. You just quietly reposition them from ally to irrelevant, and you move forward. This isn't cruelty, it's self-preservation. The world respects boundaries, not bleeding hearts. It rewards those who protect their position, not those who sacrifice it for the illusion of loyalty. And here's your ultimate strategic advantage. While you're calculating trust carefully, make others believe you trust them completely. Let them feel valued, heard, important. Give them enough access to feel included, but never enough to sabotage effectively. This creates loyalty through perception while protecting you through structure. Machiavelli also taught this: it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But I'll add to that, it's best to be respected and strategically underestimated. Let people think they're closer to you than they are. Let them believe they understand you better than they do. And all the while, you're protected by layers they don't even know exist. Your inner circle isn't everyone who smiles at you. It's the few who've proven through time and fire that they belong there. Everyone else, they're players on the board, useful, manageable, and ultimately replaceable. Comment below, I trust actions, not words. Number 8. Power moves and strategic execution. Understanding strategy means nothing if you can't execute. Most men collect knowledge like trophies. They read the books, they understand the concepts, they nod along to the philosophy. But when it's time to act, they freeze, they hesitate, they second guess. They wait for perfect conditions that never come. And while they're waiting, someone else with half their knowledge and twice their conviction takes the position they were too afraid to claim. So let's be clear, knowledge without execution is just expensive entertainment. You're not here to philosophize about power. You're here to take it, hold it, and exercise it without apology. And that requires a different mentality entirely. It requires you to move with precision, timing, and absolute conviction. Here's how you execute like someone who can't be stopped. First, you kill hesitation. When you've calculated the move, when you've assessed the risk, when you've positioned the pieces, you act. Not tomorrow, not when you feel more ready, not when conditions are perfect. You move now because momentum belongs to those who seize it, not those who wait for permission. Machiavelli said, "He who hesitates is lost," and he was right. Hesitation signals uncertainty. Uncertainty invites challenge. Challenge creates vulnerability. You can't afford that. Second, you make your moves look effortless. The moment people see you straining, struggling, forcing, they sense weakness. They smell desperation, and desperation invites exploitation. So even when you're executing something difficult, you maintain composure. You make it look easy, natural, inevitable. This is psychological warfare at its finest. When you appear effortless, people assume you have resources they don't see, power they can't measure, options they can't counter. It creates an aura that does half the work for you. Third, you never announce your intentions before you act. The world is full of men who talk about what they're going to do, what they're planning, what they're building. And then they're shocked when someone else does it first, or when obstacles appear exactly where they revealed they'd be moving. You move in silence. You let your results do the announcing. You let your outcomes speak louder than your promises ever could. When people ask what you're working on, you smile and give them something vague. When they try to pin you down, you redirect. And when you finally execute, it's already done. Too late for interference, too complete for sabotage. Fourth, and this is critical, you make every move serve multiple purposes. Amateur strategists think one move, one outcome. You're thinking 3, 4, 5 outcomes from a single action. You position yourself to gain advantage, test loyalty, gather information, eliminate threats, and create options, all in one calculated move. This is efficiency at the highest level. This is how you maximize every ounce of energy you invest. Fifth, you know when to strike and when to wait. Power isn't about constant action. It's about perfect timing. Sometimes the strongest move is patience, letting your opponent overextend, letting the situation ripen, letting others exhaust themselves while you conserve energy. But when the moment comes, when the window opens, you strike with such speed and force that resistance becomes impossible. You don't give them time to counter. You don't leave room for negotiation. You execute the move completely, cleanly, decisively. And here's what separates masters from amateurs. You own your moves completely. No apologizing, no backtracking unless strategy demands it. No explaining yourself to people who don't matter. When you act like someone who has every right to do exactly what you're doing. Because confidence, real confidence, is magnetic. It silences doubt before it's spoken. It commands respect before it's requested. And here's the ultimate truth about execution. The world doesn't reward the most knowledgeable. It doesn't reward the most prepared. It rewards the person who acts while others are still thinking. It rewards the person who moves while others are still planning. It rewards the person who takes the position while others are still asking if they're allowed to. That person is you. Not someday. Right now. Every move you make from this point forward is calculated, cold, and executed with the precision of someone who knows exactly what they're doing and exactly why they're doing it. That's not arrogance. That's mastery. That's power in motion. That's you becoming untouchable. Comment below, I execute with precision. Number 9, maintaining power and protecting your position. Getting power is one game. Keeping it is another entirely. History is littered with men who climb to the top only to be destroyed by the very tactics they used to get there. They got comfortable, they got predictable, they started believing their own mythology, and the moment they stopped playing defense, someone else started playing offense against them. You're not going to make that mistake, because maintaining power requires a different skill set than acquiring it. It requires constant vigilance, strategic paranoia, and the discipline to stay sharp, even when you think you've won. Machiavelli understood this completely. He wrote that the prince must always be prepared for war, even in times of peace. Not literal war, The war of positioning, of perception, of protecting what you've built from those who want to take it. So, here's your maintenance protocol. First, never stop evolving. The strategies that got you here won't keep you here. The market shifts, people adapt, new threats emerge. Your competition studies your patterns and develops counters. So you stay one step ahead by constantly refining your approach. You update your methods, you learn new skills. You adjust your positioning before others realize the landscape has changed. The moment you think you've figured it all out is the moment someone's figuring out how to take you down. Second, you eliminate predictability from your operating system. Routine is the enemy of security. When people can predict your schedule, your reactions, your decision-making process, they can exploit it. So you vary your patterns, you change your routes, you make decisions from different frameworks, you keep people guessing, not out of paranoia, but out of strategic necessity. The unpredictable opponent is the hardest to counter. Third, you maintain strategic distance, even from those closest to you. This doesn't mean you can't have relationships. It means you never give anyone complete access to your vulnerabilities, your plans, or your thinking. You keep layers, you compartmentalize. You ensure that no single person can destroy you if they turn, because they simply don't have enough information to do maximum damage. This is cold, yes, but it's also survival at the highest level. Fourth, you document everything, not out of distrust alone, out of protection. Conversations, agreements, promises, contributions. When your position is strong, people will try to rewrite history. They'll claim they did more than they did. They'll deny what they said. They'll shift blame and take credit. Your documentation is your shield. It's your proof. It's your leverage when someone tries to rewrite the narrative. Fifth, you stay financially independent. Power without financial backing is an illusion that evaporates the moment resources dry up. So you build multiple income streams. You maintain cash reserves. You create options that don't depend on any single source. Because the man who can walk away from any deal, any relationship, any position without financial ruin is the man who negotiates from true power. Sixth, and this is crucial, you never celebrate victories publicly. You acknowledge them privately with those who contributed, but you don't broadcast them. You don't gloat. You don't make enemies feel humiliated, because humiliated enemies become obsessed enemies. They dedicate themselves to your downfall, so you win quietly. You take the position, secure the advantage, and move forward without rubbing it in anyone's face. This isn't mercy. It's strategy. You're preventing future threats by managing egos now. Seventh, you stay physically and mentally sharp. Power requires energy, clarity, and resilience. The moment your health declines, your judgment suffers. So you train your body, you protect your sleep, you guard your mental space from toxic people and unnecessary stress. You treat your mind and body like the weapons they are, maintained, sharpened, ready. And here's the ultimate rule of maintaining power. You never, ever believe you're untouchable. The moment you think you've made it, that you're beyond threat, that the game is over, you've already started losing. Complacency is the silent killer of every empire. So you stay hungry. You stay paranoid in the healthiest sense. You operate like someone who knows that everything you've built can be taken if you stop protecting it. This isn't exhausting. It's exhilarating. It's living at the highest level of strategic awareness. This is what separates those who rise and fall from those who rise and stay there. You're building something permanent, something untouchable, something that lasts. Comment below, I protect what I build. Number 10, the final mandate, become unbreakable. So here we are. You've been given the blueprint, the psychology, the strategy, the execution framework, everything you need to become the man who can't be read, controlled, or broken. But knowledge means absolutely nothing without implementation. And implementation requires a decision right here, right now. You either commit to this path completely, or you go back to being predictable, reactive, and controllable. There's no middle ground. You can't be strategically dangerous on Tuesdays and emotionally impulsive on Fridays. You can't master silence in one situation and overshare in the next. You can't position yourself as untouchable while giving everyone access to your weaknesses. This is an identity shift, not a weekend experiment. So decide right now, Are you going to be the man who understands power or the man who wields it? Are you going to study strategy or become the strategy? Are you going to watch from the sidelines or dominate from the center of your own empire? Because here's what happens when you fully commit to this path. You become magnetic without trying. People are drawn to what they can't figure out. You command respect without demanding it. Presence speaks louder than words ever could. You move through life with a level of confidence that's unshakable because it's built on competence, preparation, and strategic awareness. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the architect of every outcome that matters. This is what Machiavelli knew. This is what the Stoics practiced. This is what every man who's ever held real power understood. The world doesn't give you anything. You take your position. You defend your position. You expand your position. And you do it with such precision that by the time others realize what you've done, it's already too late to stop you. You're not going to be loud about this transformation. You're not going to announce it. You're going to disappear into your development and re-emerge as someone completely different, someone they can't read, someone they can't predict, someone they can't control. Silent strength, invisible moves, cold execution. That's your new operating system. That's who you're becoming. And 6 months from now, a year from now, people are going to look at you differently. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. The shift in your energy, the weight of your presence, the danger in your calm. That's when you'll know you've made it. Not when you announce it, when they sense it without you saying a word. Now go build it. Become unreadable. Become untouchable. Become unbreakable. Comment below one last time. I am becoming untouchable.